So your doctor told you to increase your fiber intake, but you have no idea how to do that. Or every time you do that, you get a lot of gas, GI upset, and bloating. Hi, my name's Gabriel. I'm a dietitian. I specifically work with patients with gastrointestinal issues. I work really hard on helping my patients find the root cause of their IBS. Maybe you were diagnosed with SIBO, or you have inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. I also work with a lot of patients with different food allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances. So in this video, I want to give you 5 tips on how you can increase your fiber and hopefully lower any unnecessary symptoms like gas, bloating, and diarrhea. Other than helping patients one-on-one, I'm also educating here on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok to help make nutrition more accessible for people and to also help people funnel through all the misinformation out there. So if you're really trying to prioritize your gut health and your overall health, I would love if you would subscribe and follow to my other channels, as my goal at the end of the day is to help as many people as I can. So with all that being said, let me give you 5 tips on how you can increase your fiber intake without having all the unnecessary symptoms of bloating, gas, diarrhea, etc. The first step is to make sure you go slow and steady. So the recommendations for women is around 25 grams of fiber per day, and for men it's around 38 grams of fiber per day. Another way you can look at it is for every 1,000 calories you need 14 grams of fiber. My recommendation to all of you is get at least 30 grams of fiber per day. Once you hit that, you're set, and then you probably can keep increasing it, because we even have studies showing that up to 50 grams of fiber per day is so beneficial for our overall health. And I promise you, once you get used to fiber, you're gonna end up with a gut of steel, and you're gonna be able to tolerate way more than 30 grams of fiber per day. If you have any underlying dysbiosis or SIBO issues going on, I definitely recommend you work with a healthcare provider. I help a lot of patients with these types of conditions. We might need to take a couple different approaches, but overall these recommendations are still going to apply to you. So the first step you need to do is track your food for a day. One tracking app I really like is Chronometer. So you track your food for a day. It doesn't need to be perfect, just track it. See where you're at with fiber. If you're up for it, I would recommend doing a few days so you can get an average. Once you get that average, I want you to work on getting that amount of fiber for a couple days and seeing how you feel. If you're feeling fine, then let's bump it up by 5 grams until we get to at least 30 grams of fiber. So we're gonna bump it up by 5 grams, take a couple days, see how you're feeling, keep bumping it up, but going very slowly so you can monitor your symptoms. My second recommendation is make sure you drink enough water. You cannot just eat more fiber and not increase your water intake, because increasing more fiber is going to add more shit to your gut. And if you just have more shit in your gut, but you don't have enough water to push it out, it's gonna give you a stomachache. So a good rule of thumb is for every 5 grams of fiber you increase, you add another 8 ounces of water. My third recommendation is you wanna make sure you're getting different types of fiber. I'm sure a lot of you have seen videos on soluble versus insoluble fiber, and I know a ton of people are always very confused on this. I have made several videos on this, so I'm not gonna get too much in the weeds on it, but make sure you go look at those to help you fully understand the difference. What you need to prioritize is different types of foods, because that will naturally give you different types of fibers. So fiber is coming from whole grains, fruits and vegetables, beans, seeds, nuts, legumes. If you have a long history of not tolerating a lot of fiber, you might be better off with just eating cooked vegetables, and you might also want to consider peeling the skins on some of your fruits and vegetables, as well as avoiding fruits and vegetables with seeds. For the general population, you really don't need to do this, but if you are noticing that you are getting some GI upset by increasing these types of foods, then it might be a good idea to work on just cooking your vegetables and maybe peeling the skin here and there. The reason I'm saying this is because the insoluble fiber part is what's in the skins and the seeds of fruits and vegetables, and that's really what's gonna add bulk to your stool. And when we say that, basically it's like, it's what's pushing stool out. So it can cause a lot of GI upset for people. Another thing that can cause a lot of GI upset for people is soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is going to either ferment in your gut, which does a whole bunch of awesome things for your health, but that fermentation process some people can be really sensitive to because it is going to increase gas production. And soluble fiber can also form a gel, which is really what helps just give you a nice solid stool. So you don't want to just rely on fiber supplements, because fiber supplements are all of these types of fibers isolated. So some people might not really tolerate things like Benefiber, because Benefiber is a type of soluble fiber that ferments and causes a lot of gas. So the best rule of thumb is to just give yourself a bunch of variety in your foods and to not go overboard on portions with any of these foods. So you don't want to just eat a big bowl of broccoli or cauliflower, because those are a type of vegetable that can definitely cause more gas in some people. Maybe you want to have a tiny bit of broccoli with some zucchini and some eggplant, so you get different types of vegetables. Maybe you want to incorporate something like oatmeal, because oatmeal is really known for being a gel forming soluble fiber, so it's not going to cause too much gas and it's not going to really push too much stool out. It's just going to help form a stool. So you really just have to test your tolerance. It can be really helpful to do a food journal, but the goal is to just get a bunch of different variety and to not rely on one type of food. So number 3 was kind of a big recommendation. Let me simplify it for you a little bit. Something I recommend to my patients a lot is at the beginning of each week, I want you to get your notes app and I want you to start tallying all the different plant sources you get that week. A plant source that is going to count for this challenge is going to be any whole food. food fiber source. So any whole grain, any fruit, any vegetable, any nut, seed, bean, legume. So let's say you have oatmeal in the morning and you add chia seeds to it. Maybe you add some hemp seed, blueberries, raspberries, and a drizzle of honey. So you already have 5 plant sources for that day. Let's say for lunch you make a Mediterranean bowl. So you mix a bunch of white rice and quinoa. I would only count the quinoa because it's really packed with a bunch of fiber. And then you add chickpeas to it. That's going to be a plant source. Add cucumbers, tomatoes, red onion, and some arugula. That's going to be 6 plant sources at lunch. If you want to add something like edamame or lentils, those are also a really good plant source that would count for this challenge. So in this day, you already have 11 plant sources. And then at dinner, let's just say you want some steak, a sweet potato, and some broccoli. Done, you added 2 more plant sources. Just keep going and work your way up to about 50 plant sources a week. My 4th tip is to spread your fiber out throughout the day. So you don't want to just pack it all into your breakfast, especially in the morning. You might be a little more sensitive. Just be gentle with it and try to space your meals and snacks out about 4 hours because it takes about 4 hours to go through a full digestive cycle. So just spacing out your fiber throughout the day and doing something around 10 grams of fiber per meal, or if you're also incorporating snacks, you can do 5 to 10 grams of fiber per meal and maybe 5 grams of fiber at a snack. A nice fiber-rich snack would be like an apple and a handful of almonds. The apple is going to give you a couple different types of fiber, insoluble and soluble. The insoluble part is going to be the skin. The inside part is going to be the soluble fiber called pectin. And nuts are a really good source of insoluble fiber, so can definitely add more bulk to your stool. You don't really need to worry about these different types. I just want to share it with you so you really understand the benefits of getting variety in your diet. And my last tip is to change the way that you are preparing your fiber sources. So you don't necessarily need to just eat a bowl of raw veggies. Actually, cooking your veggies can be better tolerated for some people, so rotating it a little bit. Having some cooked veggies, and then you can also have a salad, but having cooked vegetables, maybe peeling the skin on some of the vegetables, incorporating fruits and vegetables that have seeds but also don't have seeds. Some people tolerate grains and beans better if they soak them. And you can also increase another type of fiber called resistant starch. You want to meal prep some of your starches. So rice, pasta, oats, potatoes. You can cook them and then cool them in the fridge for at least 12 hours, and that's also going to increase a type of fiber called resistant starch. So it's really going to help give your body a lot of different variety, and honestly, variety is key for everything, especially when you're trying to tolerate fiber. If you found this video helpful, I would love if you can share it with someone else that's also trying to increase their fiber, because there's a ton of people that are told to increase their fiber and that would really benefit from increasing their fiber, and it can get really confusing, so I just want to be able to share this resource to as many people as I can. If you have any other questions, please comment below, and have a good rest of your day. Bye. And my last tip is to make sure your meal is filled with healthy fats, protein, and a fiber source. Adding different types of foods to your meal can actually put a lot less burden on your digestive tract, because if you're only eating fiber, it's going to be hard for your body to digest all of that fully. But if you're incorporating other foods in there, like protein and healthy fats, you're going to end up eating a balanced amount of each, and your body is going to thank you for